guys, how's it going? Welcome to this week's recap video. It's been a super productive week. A lot of projects, a lot of work, tree load, lots of tree planting.
It's been fun though to see some things start to get kind of buttoned up.
Yeah, and I don't know how many trees you and Paul have planted, but you guys have been going for it for like 4 days. He even came in on Saturday to get a bunch of planting done.
Yeah. That Saturday was actually really nice because it was overcast.
Yes.
Like great use of the time of year. Because it's like if you can work when in the 70s and overcast, oh man.
I know. But it's supposed to be in the high 90s here within this next week. In fact, I just walked by Paul. I think we're in the high 80s today. And even that, like, because we're not used to it yet. I can't even imagine what the high 90s are going to feel like. But I walked by him. He was in a shady area putting drip down. He's like, I'm trying to find shady spots.
Yeah.
Because I'm already, like, feeling the heat, and it's not even hot yet. So we need a few weeks to acclimate.
Yeah.
But we've been really lucky, I think. I mean, May has been just a beautiful, windy, but beautiful month. Before we jump into this week's videos, I wanted to mention that we do have some Espoma products on our website, in our shop.
Quite a few, actually.
We do. And we don't offer like the big bags. And I would recommend that you go to your local garden center to pick these things up. Like my parents' garden center sells these. We just have them as a convenience for those of you who do not have them, because we've had so many messages from lots of you guys saying I can't source what you're using, I can't find the fertilizer. So we've got like the 4-pounders in the shop. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. Let's just jump in. The first video from this past week was our May garden tour. So we've been consistent 2 months in a row with garden tour videos, and we did both sections. We usually like break it up into 2 videos and do like the gardens around the house for one, and then the south garden and flower garden second, which maybe we should have because it was like an hour and
a half
long. That's such a long video. And maybe next time we should break it up. I feel like if we did do that, I always feel a little bit freer to spend more time on different plants. You know, make both of them an hour instead of one of them.
Yeah.
Such a long haul of a video. They would both be long haul videos to watch. But anyway, we just showed you what things were looking like, and Aaron actually toured us through part of it. How did that feel? Oh yeah,
that's right. My maiden voyage touring the, what are we calling that? The North Garden?
Well, it's the Dirtlands now.
Yeah, it's like Dirtlands 2.0.
Yeah. I think, we're calling that the North Garden, and then, because the pond area was the North Garden.
But now it's the pond area.
Now it's the pond area, so that's the North Garden now. And then there's the kid area. I call the place at basketball court thing, that's the kid area.
Yeah.
Then the North Garden. But I felt like I asked Aaron if he wouldn't mind walking us through, because you have so much more knowledge about the things that are going on out there.
Sure.
Like the order of things, who you've talked to, because I organize nothing out there. You pretty much ramrod in that operation. So
yeah, it's coming right along. We got all the electrician stuff is done. Chad came out and did a 4-foot trench. When I say Chad, I feel bad. I actually put that as a thing in the video because it's like it's him and his crew. Like Chad's not out here doing all the work. It's kind of like
when you say Pedro, it's because Chad is your point of contact.
Right.
And Pedro is your point of contact, but Pedro's crew, like Pedro's guys, 2 of his guys were here when I was revamping that fountain. They were here trimming all the boxwoods.
Yeah.
Like they came in and they did all the boxwoods in a day. Way worth paying somebody to do that.
They're good at it.
They're really good at it, and they do such a good job cleaning up. And it's just one of those chores, like, can I pay you to come plant all my bulbs or divide all my dahlia tubers? So there are certain jobs like that we've, like, if we can farm them out, we will. But anyway, all that to say, I always say Pedro's guys. Yeah. Or Pedro and his guys.
Well, you say Pedro did it, but it really wasn't Pedro. It was like his guys that did it. And I feel bad, like, not giving the proper credit, but it's like, it's Chad and crew. But anyway, so they did the 4-foot trench. It's like 3.5 feet for our frost-free lines.
Yep.
So you can't even get to a lot of places out there right now.
Unless you're the kids, and you can get down in the trench and run.
Yeah.
I remember the first time did we post a video or a picture of Benjamin playing in the trench, and people were like,
worried about it caving in. Well, yeah, with our soil, I don't think there's too much worry about that. I don't want them to play without me there. Like I don't want them in the trench without me also in the trench. But
they think it's so cool.
They do.
Our soil that comes out of those, like, it's so hard pan, like clay kind of hard pan mix. Like you can knock on the sides of the trench walls and they're just hard as a wall.
Yeah.
And then all the dirt that comes out. In fact, I spent a bunch of time out there with the kids the other day. We all looked like total pig pen when we came inside. In fact, Benjamin was going like this and dust was billowing out of his hair. But you can take dry soil and form it into walls. And we built castles and walkways and stairs with dry soil because it all adheres together.
Right.
Ooh. Anyway, we haven't even asked a question yet. Vicky said, did the koi have babies yet? Not that I have noticed. We've done an awful lot of skimming in that pond lately, though, so I don't know. I don't know.
It is starting to look better.
It is.
They sent some of that SAB, which is
String algae
buster. It doesn't say string algae buster, and I think there's some like legal requirement that they're not allowed to say string algae buster.
Oh.
So it says SAB on there. It's like everyone knows what it is, but as a legality, they can't call it that. Anyway,
it does look different. Like it's kind of chunking apart.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of dissolving, and the skimmer is actually picking up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I think that we are heading in the right direction. So, and we tested copper levels to make sure that, because we have 2 of the ion gens going, and we've been testing copper levels and they're not high. So they're either like not working properly, or I don't know. I don't really know what the deal is.
We don't know a lot about it, obviously.
But yeah, there was some concern about, the copper levels might be too high and you need to be careful about that. But we've been testing like the alkaline level and the pH level and all that. Everything seems to be fine. And I think we're heading in the right direction. So if we put some pond plants in there,
that we do need to go.
We might just get it licked.
Yeah, we might. MP said, I'm having blue spruce envy from zone 10. They're looking gorgeous on camera, almost aqua colored. Some of them, like that one, it was a hoop's eye out in the south garden on like the dumpster side of the south garden. It is just...
It's vibrant in person.
Yeah, it is lighting it up out there. Does anyone know of something that color for a zone 10? Okay, all you zone 10 gardeners have to jump in on that one because I have no idea. I hope there is for your sake.
10 is a lot of zones higher than us.
Yes, 4.
Yeah.
4 zones higher. Hala said, your garden is amazing. I noticed that your hollyhocks look perfect and untouched by bugs. Mine look like lace and I have no idea what's eating it. We are in Central Oregon. Do you spray with something? I'm at my wit's end. We don't spray our hollyhocks. What we do and have used in the past because of earwigs is like that bug and slug killer. We bait around the bottom of the plants. And let me backtrack. We have sprayed our hollyhocks before because they are spider mite attractors. So we have sprayed with like Captain Jack's dead bug, lots of spinosad base. We've done neem, that sort of thing to combat the spider mites. But so far I haven't noticed any damage like that. Not that that does anything, but just in case. But usually it's the bug and slug killer because the earwigs get in there and just make a huge mess of it. Dawn said, your delphiniums at 3112 are gorgeous. Do you stake them? If so, can you share your method of staking? I look forward to your tours and appreciate the pops of yellow, shrubs, and evergreens. They truly glow and capture one's attention. I'm definitely on the lookout for something that will fit in my landscape. I've been trying to be good about staking delphiniums. In fact, I left all my stakes out all through the winter and it looked horrible. But I knew that might be the only way that they get staked this year is if the stakes are already there. So most of them, I was noticing a couple are, like they must have lost their little tie or something. I don't know. I got to go figure it out. But yeah, I do stake them just with like a little thin green garden stake. Susan said, go team artichoke.
I combed some of the comments. I didn't see a single person that was not on team artichoke. I'm alone. I'm alone in my principles.
No, you're not. You'll get comments on this video. Those people will come out and say, I'm on your side, Erin.
You know what? I'm not opposed to artichokes. It's just the location of the artichokes.
The thing is I can't get artichokes to look like that.
Sure.
I get that.
Else. It's like when I pulled out that sunflower. Like, I love sunflowers. They're great. I don't want a sunflower right in that location. And that's the problem. So I'm not against artichokes.
They are.
I still don't really know what they taste like. People are saying that we should eat them.
I grow them more for decorative purposes. They're such a pain you have to boil them for like 45 minutes.
Do you?
45 minutes for an hour or something like that. I don't know.
We should probably try it.
I have had artichokes before and they're not special to me.
Sure.
Worth the effort unless somebody else prepares them.
Yeah.
I do like artichoke hearts. like in dips and on pizza and stuff like that. Pretty good. Do you like giving tours of your gardens? I know things are always changing and growing, but does it feel like a chore? I would much prefer giving a tour on video than in person.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. I think the only part of it that could remotely feel like a chore is that I have to try to remember to do one once a month. Mm-hmm. And that can be kind of hard to remember to do. I mean, there's some years where we've said we'd be consistent and do it every month, and we did like 2 the whole season. But when you're doing it on video, you can also edit too.
Yeah.
So like if I can't think of something, I can stand there for like a couple of minutes, or I can stop in Google or
Right.
look up one of our past videos, like what year did I plant that, you know?
Sure.
And I can find information like that, so it's a little bit more complete.
Yeah.
I don't know. Laura said, how many times after a garden tour do people go down to Andrew's with a list of plants they want because you have them in your property? Do you give your mom a heads up that a garden tour is coming out? I don't give her a heads up. I do give her a heads up on some of the annuals, or I have asked her, do you want my annual list for this year, like my order list?
Yeah. I don't know. I do know that people do go places with lists. It's like only in the last year or 2 that I feel like I've been more aware of that. We talked to one of the owners of the garden center in Boise, and I think I maybe even mentioned this in a recap at one point, but he told us that they carried Fertilome brand fertilizers instead of Espoma. And they had so many people coming in saying I want Rose Tone, or I want Biotone or Plat Tone or whatever. And he's like, well, I've got the Fertilome ones. And they're like, well, but I want Rose Tone. And he was like, we finally just quit fighting it. And now we just sell Espoma stuff. And maybe they sell Fertilome too or whatever. But I was like, dang, that's in Boise. It's not our immediate area. It's an hour away. It's still the same zone and everything.
Yeah.
But it's not as if we have a larger portion of viewers in that area than any other area. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think people do go in with lists, and I think you do you create a lot of gardeners. There's a lot of people that feel comfortable gardening after watching you, or they want to try gardening after you've done that. I think that's cool.
Well, that's my hope.
Yeah.
Althea said, everything is coming along beautifully. Do you guys fertilize your boxwoods? If what? If with what? I gotta read that question again. Do you guys fertilize your boxwoods? If with what and how often? It's how it's written. I thought it was just me. We use Plantone right here. We use Plantone in the spring, and that's probably about it. Once a year.
I don't think we've ever fertilized more than once a year.
Yeah.
It probably says on the bag to do it more often.
Once a month. Whew, that just kind of puffed right up in my nose. Zip this thing closed. Oh, it's open both ways. We must have broke it. No, feed twice per year in spring and fall. Oh. At the rate of 1 cup per foot of branch diameter. So we could come through in the fall, but I don't want to encourage. It have to be early enough. Yeah. To where
sometimes we have a very quick descent into winter.
Yeah.
And so it's it feels weird fertilizing in the heat of summer. Mm-hmm. Other times we have had a nice fall though. Those are probably the years that we should maybe fertilize a little bit in the fall. Yeah. Cheryl said, what happened to that giant water lily plant you wintered over from last year? Did it not survive? I got it out of storage, and I stored it in kind of lightly dampened peat moss, and I had it here in the studio, so it wasn't too cold, but it wasn't too hot. And when I took it out of the bag, I thought, oh, this is it feels good. It felt kind of firm but springy a little bit. And then I got messing with it a little bit more, and it just kind of it was the weirdest thing. The inside was not good, but the outside still felt good. That's so weird. No, it did not survive. Tried. I mean, there was nothing else. It would have died in the pond. Yeah. So, I mean, at least I gave it a shot. I don't know if I need to refine my, I do need to refine my storage method because that one didn't work. Or maybe it was just a one-off, I don't know. But we need to run down to Ontario Rock. I think they've got pond plants. Or didn't they post that they had pond plants? We need to go get some because I do think that will help. Isn't there that guy in Meridian or Boise? Well, Idaho Oasis. We should go there too. Yeah. Yeah, we need to make a trip. Get some from him. Mm-hmm. Next video was planting the chicken coop flower bed, the Hartley end caps, and the pond berm. So we got the front of the chicken coop done, the end caps, and the pond berm. How about that?
Hey. And so that felt like a very productive day, getting all of the color out in those areas. There are certain spots that I just save for annuals because I know it's going to be big color. They're good opportunities to try out different plant combinations and that sort of thing every year. Nisa said, what happened to Bev? She was so sweet. So Bev was one of our chickens, Buff Orpington. She was one of the first chickens that we got. We got a grouping of 10, like 5 years ago. She's the only one out of the whole 10 that survived. All the rest of them got a weird, I don't know if it was like Merrick's disease or Merrick's, because they did have a little bit of graying on their eyes and they lost ability to use their legs. And so it just kind of swept through them, which was really traumatic because it didn't kill them all the way initially. So it was just a really crummy thing, but Bev survived it and she was so sweet. And because I got them as a little bit older chickens, I got to like kind of raise them up a little bit into adulthood. So I spent a bunch of time out there. It's back when we only had one child instead of two. And so I got to spend a lot of time out there and just, be. And so she was used to me. She would eat out of my hand. And Paul went out there and she was just laying on the ground. We have no idea what happened to her. We looked her over. She didn't have any mites or any sort of visual issue at all. And I don't know how long chickens usually live, but she was 5 or 6. She'd stopped laying eggs like maybe a year ago or so. So she was just a sweet little pet out there at that point. So, and sometimes that just happens. So, and Samantha still says, Mom, I'm sorry, Bev died. Sorry, Bev died.
Yeah.
2254 Dolphin said, I love the efficiency you have in your garden when planting, but do you ever damage flower stems when you gently kick the pot over to drill the holes? No. Nope. You kind of, especially when you're planting in a real densely packed area, you kind of know the method you need to go. Like the way you tap the pot over, you tap it in a direction that it's not going to be in the way of any of the other ones that you need to tap over. And so you kind of dig the holes one way and then plant back the same way,
Sure.
Anyway. Sharon said, how do you keep your violet night lobularia blooming? Mine stops halfway through the summer, really.
In the shade?
Well, I suppose.
Not getting enough sun, maybe?
Yeah, I suppose that could be a reason why. They like full sun.
Is it the Proven Winners one that she's planting, or?
Oh, I don't know. That's true.
Because some of the other ones I've heard that complaint with.
Well, she asked about the violet night lobularia specifically, but that could be because I planted that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because I know that's a problem with other lobularias. Like that's one of the
Sure.
reasons that Proven Winners says that theirs is whether it is or not.
When they've got violet night, white night, blushing princess. I feel like there's one more I'm missing.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I have currently. Glennis said, do you think in a milder climate, could Super Tunia Vista last more than 1 year? Possibly. We had a Play in the Blues come back this year.
Really?
Did you know that?
No.
In that flower bed by the parking area that I was planting with Play in the Blue salvia, I was showing all of you guys in a video just the area before I put plants in, and there was one like this big.
Wow.
Already. Just came back, and that area is exposed.
Yeah.
So you just never know. Naomi said, how do you secure your climbing rose to the chicken coop? I have a garden shed that I'm training a David Austin rose to climb, but I'm having a hard time securing the canes. So I usually use, what are those called? Cable clips?
Yeah.
They're like
I thought
little
you used
nails.
like eye hooks or eye bolts.
No.
Do you not? Okay.
I mean, I have. Those
Yeah.
would work too. I just use those cable clip things. There's like a little nail and then a little white plastic kind of clip that you can put cable in. I use those because they're white, like the chicken
Sure.
coops. So they kind of blend in. And then I use a piece of rubber coated twine and go through the cable clip part and then lash my branch so I can kind of tack in wherever I want the branch to go. And then on the run portion, we ran some metal cables, just kind of a grid of those, and we can kind of weave the branches in and out of the grid and or tie them off with ties. One sparrow said, can you paint the electrical panel to make it blend in better? Just a thought, like they did on your house. On the Hartley.
Yeah. It bothers me.
Does it bother you?
I don't think it bothers you as much.
Well, I kind of wish, I don't know, like having it on the other side might have been better.
Yeah.
Because we don't look at it from that side as often. Like
It was out of the way. The other, because it was coming from that direction.
Yeah, would have had to go further.
Yeah. I mean, you could have made it made it happen, but
Yeah. So what's the difference? You know,
I think that we will find something eventually that covers it.
I've been thinking through some things.
Yeah.
I don't know about painting it. I feel like painting it will look like one of those painted murals on like the electrical box downtown. I don't really like that look.
Yeah.
But it might be awesome. I have no idea. I would rather probably put something in front of it to mask it.
Yeah.
I think those annuals, especially the plain and the blues, should do a good job.
Yeah.
If they get the size they usually do. Gay said, I recently retired from my job, so I'm able to spend more time in my backyard. It's become my happy place. Watching your channel is very helpful and inspiring. I have a question about the artichokes. Are you going to do anything with them? I don't know. Right now, I'm just looking at them. That's mostly the reason why I like to grow things. Except for like fruits and vegetables. I like to grow those so that we can actually use them, but I also like to look at them too. I do occasionally like to cut them for flower arrangements. I think they look really pretty and unique in that sort of situation. But yeah. Mary said, is the video from 2 years ago treating chlorosis still accurate?
Yes.
Yes. Whoa.
Do you know I haven't treated anything this year? There's some roses and stuff we need to treat. But
hydrangea.
None of the trees are looking like they need it.
Are you going to preventative anything?
I don't think so. Well, maybe. I might.
Just in case, like...
I probably should.
Jennifer said, everything looks beautiful. I have a question, please. Where did you get your apple blossom geraniums? When I Googled, they have different types. I said Maverick. Thank you. Maverick apple blossom from Swallowtail Seeds. That's where I order all of my geranium seeds from, and I have amazing luck with their seeds. Next video is planting seeds, which were beans, sunflowers, and corn. We also planted basil in the raised bed garden along with some zinnias, and we planted 2 summer containers. Nita said, what works well for you to keep the seeds moist until sprouting? Do you have drip running or just moisten soil daily? We have our drip running every day in areas like that. If it's extra windy, like we've gone out a couple of times and I'll just spot water a few things. Most of the time, if they get that like real good drench once in a day, it's enough moisture. Even if the top of the soil surface looks dry, there's moisture enough below it that the seeds come up. Terry said, I've been watching your videos for the past 4 years, have learned so much. That's awesome. You've definitely helped foster my love of gardening. Question for you, I inadvertently used the watering can I used for Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer on my herb containers. I'm trying to find out if that fertilizer is toxic. I'm sure there was residue in the watering can. Do not worry about that whatsoever. Yeah, you're totally fine. Letitia said, where do you post early access to the videos? I'm a new member. It says 17 days. I've streamed all of the on the playlist each year and I'm not cut up. Thank you for all you do.
I'm pretty sure you get a notification. It tells me when I upload the video that members will get a notification that a new video is available.
A member is different than a subscriber.
Yeah.
So if you subscribe to our channel, you will...
That's free.
Yeah, it's free. You'll see the videos come out each morning. If you are a member, which is a paid thing, how much is it?
I think maybe it's
$5.
I think it depends on if you're using an iPhone or not. Like if you're using an iPhone, it's more because Apple wants a cut. So, but if you subscribe if you subscribe to being a member, not to the channel, but if you become a member from like a computer, then it's less.
Okay.
I don't remember the amounts.
Either way, there's subscribers and members. Members who pay a monthly fee get the videos the evening before they go out.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Sometimes it's like a full day, but most of the time it's
sometimes
just like
it's
evening.
Really late at night.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's like sometime in the early evening hours.
When those notifications go out, like that's every evening when
you finish.
When we...
Melody said, do you treat the strawberries and other plants with the chelated iron as a spray or as a granule? I have the same problem here in Southern Oregon. Would like to treat mine as well. We just mix our chelated iron up in water and water everything with it. Works pretty well that way. Mary Edwards said, why do you grow soybeans? So we can eat them.
Eat for fun.
Beth said, should we be using all-purpose 20-20-20 or 10-30-20 on our flowers now? Obviously, I'm confused. Enjoy your channel so much. What is ours? What's the Proven Winners? What's the ratio on that one? Hold on, I'll find it. So the Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer that we use for annuals is 24-12-17.
Huh.
And it has the addition of the EDDHA chelated iron, which is so necessary for our plants to be looking nice and deep green leaf-wise. I think really no matter what the food is for annual plants, any food is better than no food. I mean, maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but Annuals are big performing, like high performing plants that need a lot of food to do it. Genevieve said, are foxgloves really toxic to touch? Can you use it as a cut flower? I've heard mixed reviews about foxgloves and I have some growing in my garden and they are gorgeous, but I'm scared to touch them. As far as foxglove toxicity goes, the only thing I wouldn't do is just eat it. That's about it. I mean, I touch them without gloves and I use them in flower arrangements. I plant them. We have cats and kids. No worries. Just don't be eating on them. Megan said, speaking of wintering over, how are the thrips? Any plans for the beneficial insects this year? Actually, yes. So there are some thrips out there. Not maybe the population that we had before, but I think it's going to take a while for us to get, if we're going to do the approach that we're taking, which is using biologicals, using other insects to eat those, it's not a guarantee, that they're going to do exactly what I want them to do. So I was actually talking with Bo from Ag Idaho this morning. He texted me and just said, hey, it's getting time. You still on board? You want to do this thing? And I said, yep. And any other thing that you want to add to those mites, let's do it. So anyway, we'll have that here coming up fairly soon. We haven't sprayed for them. So everything's still untouched out there, just dripping away. Out there in the cut flower garden. Next video, dividing and planting our dahlias. No more. I'm going to leave those things in the ground. We're just going to buy new ones. We're going to reduce the dahlia field. Like the whole idea of doing a dahlia field out here, dumb. Dumbest idea ever.
Are you glad that I was not on board with that?
Yes. And dahlias are beautiful. I love to use them, but honestly, they are short vase life flower. And like the big dinner plate ones are so commanding that they're a little bit hard to use in, in like mason jar arrangements, which is usually what we're doing to give them away, to give flowers away. Big sunflowers and big dinner plates are hard to incorporate unless you're doing great big grand arrangements, which I love to do, but they're not as practical everyday sort of arrangements that you could throw together really, really quickly. Anyway, yeah, the dahlias. Got those all out of the root cellar, got them divided, got them planted. It did span 2 days, well, a day and a half or so. It took me like 6 hours standing there dividing dahlias.
I was backing up files because we save the files for every video. On that one, I was like,
not worth it.
Laura's not going to want to revisit that.
Nope. Never again.
Deleted.
Yeah. Miss Tori said, glad you got the cumbersome chore done. Do you save the vermiculite and reuse it or throw it away? We save it. Unless there's some kind of a weird infestation, which we've never had. But if I notice like fungus gnats or anything like that, I would toss it. I did, like if I came across a rotted tuber clump, which I did run across a few, and it's like real wet around them, I just kind of like gather the whole thing up and toss it. I don't keep any of that stuff. Mary Jane said, can I plant dahlia tubers in a container? Absolutely. Now there are different sizes of dahlias, so you might want to consider that depending on like the size of your container. They will still need to be staked, the larger ones. So if you've got a large container, you're growing some tall dahlias in it that get 4 to 6 feet tall, they will need to be supported somehow, but dahlias in containers are awesome. Sesswood said, how deep do you plant pre-sprouted dahlias? I planted mine about 2 inches, I want to say, or so. Holly K said, a lot of work, but wow, I can't wait to see those beautiful dahlias. Do you guys sit on the 4 benches in the cut flower garden? We do on occasion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The kids like to do it. When we're walking out there, they like to sit.
Yeah, they do. Jenna said, I moved to Texas from Ohio, and I'm starting all over. I miss my dahlias. You make everything look easy. Glad it seems that way. When you say zone 8, does that mean I will not need to dig them up here in a zone 8, zone 9? No, you should be able to leave yours in the ground. As I was standing there cutting these dahlia clumps just the whole time, I look over in the chicken coop bed and there are dahlias that I planted in there last year, up about this far, looking beautiful. Didn't mulch them, so forgot they were there.
You would totally know by this time, by the time although you don't have enough time to buy new ones.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. So here's what I think happened. I showed you some tubers that I was running across that felt good. They looked like, from the outside, like a perfect tuber, and I cut into it and there's rot on the inside. We have a little space heater in the root cellar that will kick on when it hits a certain low temperature so that it takes the edge off and so it doesn't freeze in there. I think it froze in there.
Oh,
because
really?
That wasn't functioning properly all winter, and we got down to -6 one of the nights.
But I have an alarm. I have a temperature alarm in there.
Do
I
you?
get notifications when it wasn't going below like 4.
No, it was 35.
High 30s.
It was. I went in there when it was 35.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Are you sure yours is functioning?
Maybe not.
I don't know. Either way, I feel like at some point those tubers got a little cold, and that's why they were presenting what they were.
So you're looking a little cold.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope where your mind goes. I hope that those dahlias come up. I don't know. They might come up really sporadically, and we might just dig them up and end up with 2 rows of dahlias out there, which honestly, great. It's just fine. Danielle said, I need a bigger dahlia bed like yours. You're such an inspiration. Thank you. Quick question. What type of string are you using to tie the dahlias? I had some twine last year and the weather kept making it snap. Also, what's your favorite dahlia? Oh, my favorite. I don't know.
Can you use wire? Or does it need to be twine?
It needs to be twine. I like to use the rubber coated twine. It's like a wire that's got a rubber coating. Do I have some right here? I might. Nope. Anyway, I like to use that. We use tree rope too, which is like a black nylon sort of rope, and it's soft, so it doesn't rub. Like we use it to stake trees up and such. So those are the 2 things that I like to use. Busy Bee Stone said, which is worse, fall bulb planting or dahlia planting, dividing, storing, and digging?
They both kind of suck.
I hate being so negative. Maybe I shouldn't be as negative. Because honestly, like you stand back and like it's a privilege to be able to plant any of those things. Sure. And so I always feel like I need to check myself a little bit and not be so negative about it. Because nobody's telling me I have to plant 12,000 bulbs.
Right.
I did it to myself.
Yeah.
You know? So, and you know, all of it I keep doing because it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Cindy Joe said, I love watching you do this job. Keyword is watching. Yeah. Question. If you cut them in the fall when you pack them, would it make the job easier since you're already labeling and packing? Sidebar, I miss my little badge of honor. A little badge of honor. Or did like the icon go away next to her name or something?
Yeah, you know.
Oh, we don't control that.
No, I've seen people like email about that before.
Yeah, the little flowers and little things that come up next to your names. We have no...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not us doing that. But yes, you could. Some people like to divide them after they dig them, they clean them, cut them, and then they like wrap them individually in saran wrap and store them that way, which, you know, maybe that's the way to do it. But we're too busy in the fall. I mean, there's just never really a good time. And in the winter, I didn't do it this winter because we had lots going on.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to spend a bunch of time too. I mean, you can carve out time for most anything usually. But I didn't.
If you had a small little patch, it could be worth it.
Yeah.
But not if you're doing it like on a medium scale.
Yeah.
Because if it was a large scale, you would have machines that were doing it, and you'd be selling them, so you'd be able to recoup some of the you know, time.
Yeah. For us, it's not a moneymaker whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So other than like we get to make videos out of some of the projects, but like how many? 2 in a year? Like all the work that it takes, it probably doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
A Silver Lining said, what do you mean when you say dry out? So I cut a few of those tubers. Well, I guess I mentioned drying out a couple of times. After you divide your tubers, you've got like fresh cut sides that are exposed. Like the insides are exposed, and it's just, you need to let those areas kind of callus and dry out a little bit, which I left mine in the studio overnight, and then we planted them the next day. And then when we were out there planting, I ran across a clump of tubers that I forgot to divide. So I divided them right there on the spot, and then I just set them in the sun right above their planting hole. And I figured, well, they're going to be exposed to this warmth, the wind, and by the time I am done planting, those cut ends will be calloused enough and dried out enough to plant in the hole. That way you can't like introduce excess moisture to the interior of the bulb, the tuber, as easily. And the last video from this week was transforming an old cracked fountain into a beautiful plant container.
Turned out pretty good.
You have little
I was
faith.
wrong. I was wrong.
So we have the 3-tier Grand Kensington fountain. I did see some comments, and maybe there are some in here about like, wow, you haven't had that fountain very long. Like, should it be falling apart like it is? Well, it was the winter
if
when
you don't winterize.
It was the winter that we had Samantha. And I was in an incredible amount of pain for most of that pregnancy because Samantha was lodged in my ribs, and she had 3 of my ribs out of place. Like I was going to physical therapy once a week, or to my physiotherapist, and she would like kind of adjust, and I would get them kind of back in, and they would be out in 30 minutes. It was kind of consuming. That's my excuse for letting some things just fall between the cracks. I just wasn't thinking about certain things. Anyway, we did not winterize that fountain. I didn't even think about it. It was just not on my radar that winter.
It is kind of a recipe for like cracked concrete, if you
Leave water in there.
If you leave water, like, yeah, it's probably going to expand and crack.
Yeah, so that's what happened. It was neglect on our part. Usually we don't cover our fountains, and that does lower the lifespan of your concrete as well, but we do drain them. We drain them, take the pumps out, and then we usually put like a little layer of burlap at the bottom of the bowls, because in that case, the burlap soaks in the water, and that's what freezes. Like, instead of freezing against the bowl, it's like the cloth inside is expanding and contracting. Works really well. And I haven't had a big fountain like that crack like that, but I haven't left water, like just standing water in a bowl like I did that year.
I mean, even if you just take the drain plug out, even if you're not like getting all the water out,
Yeah.
even that would probably
If it has somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just kind of a recipe for disaster. So we ended up demolishing that garden anyway. It's weird. I thought I would really miss that garden, and it was pretty. It was a pretty little spot, but
it's kind of perched. Like, it didn't really make sense. And
it
there was
was
that ugly
it made
white
for gate arbor
that no one likes.
The thing I didn't love about that spot is that the gravel went around it, so people thought it was like driveway.
Yeah.
But it was too narrow to turn.
Some people would, with small cars,
They would try.
Well, even bigger cars, they would try.
Yeah.
Made me so mad.
I know. So it was just, anyway, we had to take the fountain apart anyway to get rid of that garden space. And it was just sitting behind the orchard fence for the last couple of years. And I knew it was sitting there. And I knew at some point I would maybe try to do something with it. It just seemed a shame to, pitch it. It's a pretty shape. I love the shape of it. So anyway, we got it out of storage and I stained it. I had some smoke gray wood stain down in our basement. And I can't remember what I bought it for. I think maybe it was what was I staining? Anyway, I didn't obviously use it. It was almost a full can. Got the fountain stained. It looks brand new minus the cracked and crumbling parts. And then planted it up. And I think it turned out really fun. I do think I'm going to move the hydrangeas though.
Really?
I think it makes it look too messy.
Oh.
So I think I want to pop those out and put another ridiculous coleus. So we have a nice, very formal bottom with a whimsical top.
Sure.
I think trying to get that whimsy down below while having it up top is too much. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Could you put the hydrangeas on the west side?
The west side. Where at?
Somewhere on the west side?
I don't have any room on the west side.
Oh.
I'm out. I planted geraniums in there this morning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're going to have to expand.
I wonder, under the golden rain tree, they wouldn't get enough sun.
No, it'd be bad because they would get afternoon. They'd get the worst part of the sun.
Worst part of the sun, yeah. Mary said, I repaired a few things that I found at a garden center, so I'm thinking, would a coat of thin set be a way to fix the leaking? Probably silicone. I could have used expanding pond like foam. I could have done something inside.
It'd be tough though, because those are kind of like hairline cracks, and it'd be.
You could also line it with plastic. You get a big old piece of plastic. You could pop the hole in the drainage and kind of push the plastic down so that the soil and water. I just wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking like, let's get this project. Let's get the show on the road here and get this done. And so I just didn't really think about it. I'm hopeful that it hangs on this season, and then maybe we can do a little repair from the inside next year.
Yeah.
Should we decide to leave it there. Lynette said, good morning, Laura. Where's the patio set that you were sitting on from? That's from Front Gate. And they are heavy, heavy duty.
Yeah.
They are not going anywhere.
Also expensive.
I waited.
Yeah, you
Well,
did.
I shopped. Remember how long I shopped? I shopped so long for patio furniture, and I'm so picky about the way the backs of the chairs look and the legs. I don't like legs are a weird thing for me on all furniture, and I don't like so many legs.
Yeah.
I love the legs on this, and I love the back because we see a lot of our furniture from the back. I bought the bistro set first, the one by the kitchen, and I waited till they were on sale. So I got they're still expensive, but I got them for a better deal than they are regularly. And because I felt like I had exhausted every option for...
It was the thing you wanted.
It was the thing I wanted. And then I waited for the sale, and so I felt okay about it.
If you want something for like over a year, I feel like it's probably actually the thing you want.
Yeah. Linda said, why would you want to change that in the future? How long are you sitting there to worry about the sightline? Well, we sit there quite a lot. And it's not just about it is about the sightline. I mean, we drive by it, we walk by it, we sit there, and it's all about scale and balance too. And I'm not going to do something, even though if it's like a tall fountain that's gorgeous and that would fit in that brick circle, it might not be the right balance for everything else around it. So I got to take it all into account. And why would we want to change it out in the future? I just figured that we probably would because we hadn't settled on exactly what we wanted for that space. And who knows, maybe that's after, getting that done and living with this, maybe this is the shape of concrete that we want in that space. Maybe we do want just plants there instead of water, which would be quite nice for splattering and all the wind that area gets.
No algae?
Yeah, no, our fountains don't get algae though.
That's true. There's enough water movement.
Yeah, so it's just a really fun way to experiment without having to purchase a new piece of concrete. My initial thought, even before we set that up, is I needed a low basin. A low basin that was wide and kind of, because the pots in the corners are so beastly, that I needed something thick and low to ground that area with some kind of like just gentle spraying something that didn't get too tall. We'll see. Heather said, I thought the can said wood stain. Does that last well on concrete? It does. I mean, long enough for us to get our hard water back on it. That's the thing for us. Like if we have a piece, in fact, I don't order any pieces anymore that are a different color than just natural concrete because that takes our hard water staining and damage so much better. Like you can get away with having a piece out for a lot more years without feeling like you need to touch it up with stain. But I had a fountain in our townhouse garden. Remember that one? Mm-hmm. I would stain it with Danish oil, stain it really dark. It was brown when I bought it. And the hard water, it just would turn white and look horrible. And so I'd have to stain it like once or twice a year. So it's kind of irrelevant how long a stain will last on a colorful piece of concrete because you have to restain it with hard water anyway.
Right.
For us, anyway. Heather said, wait a minute, I thought you got rid of the John Deere. Where's the Bobcat? The John Deere left the day after that project?
Yeah. So I've been working with somebody to, get rid of it. Mm-hmm. But it's gone now.
The Bobcat is so nice.
When I brought up buying it and getting rid of the John Deere, you were rolling your eyes. So I was like, okay, so here's what we could do. And I was trying to do the financial aspect and hey, so if we sell the John Deere, we buy this Bobcat and here's the pros of the Bobcat. And I could tell you were listening to me, but only with 20% of your attention. But you have to admit that was a pretty good purchase.
It was.
The only problem, the reason that we use the John Deere for that is because it is actually lighter. It's way lighter than the Bobcat. And I'm a little concerned about the weight of the Bobcat on the bricks. Mm-hmm. So in the future, I don't know that I'd want to use the Bobcat. Plus, you're going to plant those boxwoods. So I'm not sure.
You'll be able to fit.
I'll be able to fit. So what we might need to do, there's a Bobcat L23 that's the size of a lawn tractor, but it can lift 1,500 pounds.
Whoever thinks I should get a horse barn first, raise your hand. Crystal said, this has to be my favorite planting project yet. I love the look of old fountains planted. Does your mom have a fountain planted as well? Yes, she does. It was the one that used to be, I think it was the one that used to be in that rose garden, that circular area in their back garden that's now gone.
Oh, yeah?
And remember it had roses? It's the one my dad got pinned under and called me.
That's right.
My mom was out of town. I think everybody was kind of gone doing something, and I was home at the townhouse at that time. And my dad called me and he was all flustered. I'm like, what's going on? Hey, Laura, what are you doing? And I was like, well, nothing. He goes, I'm pinned. I'm pinned underneath the fountain. I'm like, well, what the heck? I mean, I'm 15 minutes away. I'm like, can you call your neighbor? Can he come help you get unpinned? How am I going to get you unpinned? Yeah. Anyway, so I started rolling out there because I didn't know how badly he was pinned or whatever. He got himself out between the time he called me and the time I actually arrived. But we still laugh about that. I think it was that fountain that's planted up. In fact, we just planted it with the Peachy Keen, Super Bina, and all the other things that we were planting that day last week. Denver Tom said, I wonder how many coats of stain you used. I guess just one. Yep, just one. Easy peasy. Quickly done. I think the cleanup is the time consuming. I took a brush after it and I scraped off all the loose bits, and then I took a rake and I raked away the mulch from the base so that I could stain all the way to the bottom without getting a bunch of mulch on my brush, that sort of thing. And the last question for this week from Lindsay. I want to invest in a concrete fountain next year. How can I keep it nice so it can be enjoyed for many years? Why did the fountain deteriorate so much? Well, we just discussed that. You get the most life out of it if you treat it how you should and cover it during the winter months. Drain it, cover it, keep it clean, that sort of thing.
You could use a tarp to put over it, or they sell fountain, I know Henry Studios sells fountain tarps.
Yeah, they're a cone-shaped tarp,
yeah.
So it's a little bit more appropriate. in that way. The previous owner of our house used to get like rolls of clear plastic.
Yeah.
And used to like almost saran wrap
Right.
his statuary.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what you should do if you don't want to buy
But
it
for us,
again.
that's like 5 or 6 months out of the year. I wouldn't be able to look at the pretty statuary.
Yeah.
To me, it's worth it to keep it out, not to not winterize your fountains in terms of draining them and all of that, and taking the pumps out. Take the pump out in the winter because they will freeze and break most likely. Anyway, yeah, that's it for this week. Anything else?
Nope.
I'm gonna go plant some annuals.
Nice.
So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you're having a great start to your week, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.